Hey guys, and welcome back to another Total War Warhammer 3 video. With Immortal Empires rapidly approaching, and a combined campaign featuring more factions than ever before fielding troops with a physical resistance, I thought it might be useful if we cover off the magical spells from various laws of magic available to imbue magical damage to ranged and melee attacks, bypassing the physical resistances of those pesky demon and ethereal units. While 20% physical resistance on most demon units doesn't completely negate your melee and range damage, sometimes you may find yourself in engagements where a little extra punch might tip the battle in your favour, and certainly not failing to mention that when facing undead, sometimes physical resistance is upward of 50% may be encountered on ethereal units. Please note that ward save will still negate both physical and magical damage, and missile resistance applies to both physical and magic missile attacks. Now, this video isn't intended to be a deep tactical look at how you spend your wins of magic in battle, and the efficiency and effectiveness of spending wins on buffing magical damage versus, for example, casting direct damage spells. In many cases, if you find yourself with a huge blob of enemy infantry, then casting a nice bombardment or wind spell will likely result in fewer enemy troops available to fight back in the long run, especially when you consider the RNG nature of melee combat when it comes to buff spells. But sometimes there might not be perfect opportunities for your damage spells, and spells that imbue magical damage, typically alongside imbuing other buffs to things like melee attack and weapon strength, can be used as a powerful force multiplier when cast on, for example, charging cavalry about to take an engagement with a particularly tough and dangerous demon unit. Sometimes every shred of damage that you can eke out of an engagement will mean that dangerous enemy units leave the battlefield that little bit sooner, resulting in less damage back to your units, who you can then move off to fight elsewhere. Try pairing magical attacks with bear cavalry on a downhill charge and watch how quickly they make light work of a tough unit such as a plague bearer unit, or watch crane gunners deny that bloodthirster even making it to your side of the battlefield. Before we begin, please like this video and subscribe for more content, as this really helps my videos get noticed. All support is always appreciated. Ready guys? Then let's do it. First up, we have Fists of Gork from the lore of Big War. This costs 7 wins of magic and is available to the greenskins, pairing imbuing magical attacks with a hefty bonus to both melee attack and defense for 35 seconds. Remember that even where the name and stat boosting capabilities of a spell suggest this should be focused on melee units, and in the case of greenskins this is likely the spell's best use, these spells do all imbue magical ranged attacks too. Next up, we have Aspect of the Dread Knight from the lore of Death, which for 4 wins of magic will imbue magical attacks, a leadership boost, and the capacity to cause terror. Lore of Death is available to the widest number of factions of any spell in this list, including Beastmen, Dark Elves, the Empire, Greenskins, High Elves, Norska, Tomb Kings, Vampire Counts and Coast, Warriors of Chaos, Nurgle, and the Demons of Chaos. Remember, when not fighting Demon, Undead, or Unbreakable or immune to psychology troops, casting this on a unit engaged or about to engage with the enemy that are wavering or will soon start to means that you are likely to terror out the unit, removing them from combat and giving you the chance to deliver free damage while enemy troops aren't fighting back. Thirdly, we have Flaming Sword of Ruin from the lore of Fire, which for 8 wins of magic imbues both magical and flaming attacks in an AoE, perfect for fighting regenerating enemies with a fire weakness, alongside a hefty boost to weapon damage for 28 seconds. The Lore of Fire is available to the Dark Elves, the Empire, the High Elves, Norska, Warriors of Chaos, the Ogre Kingdoms, Tzeentch, and the Demons of Chaos. Next we have Frostblades from the Lore of Ice. At this time, this lore is available only to Kislev, and on top of the magic damage, for 7 wins this spell imbues a boost to weapon damage, including AP weapon damage, and melee attack for 26 seconds. Might of Heaven and Earth from the lore of Yang imbues magic and flaming damage, alongside the same melee boosts as Frostblades, only this spell lasts longer at 36 seconds and has a higher cost at 11 wins of magic. Occam's Mindraiser from the lore of Shadows is another very widely accessible lore, available to the Beastmen, Dark Elves, the Empire, High Elves, Tomb Kings, Norska, Vampire Counts, Wood Elves, Warriors of Chaos, Slaanesh, and the Demons of Chaos. For 9 wins of magic, this gives magical attacks and a powerful boost to weapon damage, and overcasting makes this an AoE. And lastly, saving the spell I've probably least used in my time playing this series, though I do expect that to change because I love my spooky pirate people, we have Spiteful Shots. This can only be cast on units that possess a missile attack, and for 4 Winds of Magic imbues the magical damage and a large boost to accuracy for 35 seconds. Note that this does mean it can be cast on units such as your Rotting Promethean Gunnery mobs who can still do really well in melee too. So there we have it. With Immortal Empires yet to release, the way these spells work could change, and with the advent of the demon factions being introduced into the game, it's entirely possible that more spells may be added to this list in future. So my dreams of the Skaven getting access to imbued magic via Death Frenzy, or my Tomb King Necropolis Knights cleansing the southern jungles of Tzeentchian corruption with a little help from Barona's Time Warp aren't over yet. And it's also important to remember that spells are just one way to imbue magic damage, and sometimes you may have access to Lord abilities or items that can do this for you too. Comment down below if you found this video useful, and be sure to check me out putting magic to good use, and follow me over on Twitch at twitch.tv/supersangu. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.